What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Juice Toya podcast, brought to you by One Body LA. I'm your co-host, Juice.
And I am Toya. Welcome back to episode number 14.
Wow.
We've got a good episode for you all today.
Oh, yeah.
But let's get straight into the housekeeping to start off, because we have a lot to cover in the episode.
Oh, yeah.
Housekeeping, first of all, we have a new program, First Start Challenge.
Let's talk about it.
A First Start program, actually. We're in the middle of a challenge. It's week 2 of the challenge, so we're almost halfway through. But this program can be done at any time. It's a 4-week program, and there's 2 versions, actually, a follow along and a circuit program. And honestly, to our surprise, the circuit program has kind of been more popular than the follow along, which we love.
I love it.
I think that's awesome. And so you can try either of the programs right now on our app, or you can purchase them one-time purchase, and they're yours to keep.
Forever.
So we'll put those links in the show notes and description or wherever you're watching, but make sure you check those out. It's a great program just to get started, get into a routine. I think I said it's 4 weeks. Yeah, it's 4 weeks. But also there's guides included. There's a nutrition guide, modification guide, a motivation guide. So there's also guides included to help you along the 4 weeks, just to, again, get you into a routine. But we also want it to set you up to where once that 4 weeks is over, you're not just stopping. You've got a routine going on your nutrition, on your movement to keep you going beyond that 4 weeks.
Yeah, and this is just to set you up for success in 2024. Like, this isn't, you're not going to reach your goals, depending on what your goals are, but you're not going to reach your ultimate goals in these 4 weeks realistically, but it's going to set you up. It's going to help you feel what it takes to reach those goals.
Yes.
So definitely go check it out. We'll link everything down in the show notes or the description of this YouTube video. So go check it out. Also, we got some merch on the way. We got some new merch that we're sending off, but we also updated our inventory. So if there were some sizes that you were missing out on, they might be in stock now.
Yes.
So definitely go check them out. onebodyla.com/shop. We have our partnership with Lululemon, best clothes in the game. Shout out Lululemon. But yeah, go check out the merch. And also, if you get the merch, if you buy it, be sure, if you have social media, share it with us. We want to shout you out. Share it to our One Body LA page. We want to shout you out to show you off in your brand new Lululemon OBLA merch. So go check it out. Also, last but not least, we have some brand new YouTube videos. I don't know if you've been on the YouTube recently, but we were dropping some brand new videos. We dropped a new guided workout. We like to start the year with a kind of more of a beginner level workout. So if you like workouts where we kind of give you some audio cues throughout the workout to help you with your form. Everybody needs that refresher, even us sometimes, to have certain refreshers on certain exercises. So check that out, and I think that'll set you up for a lot of the other content that we're putting out, because again, a lot of the movements that we do, they're similar movements, right? We're trying to work the same muscle groups, trying to work the same movement patterns. So it's just sort of a baseline workout to kind of get you in the motion of doing the other workouts that we do on our channel. So go check that out. We have a new dumbbell hit workout, lightweight hit. Don't get it twisted. It's lightweight, but it'll get you sweating. So go check that out, as well as a new step to the beat workout as well. So go check out all those videos. We got a lot of stuff that we're dropping this year we're excited about, and we're trying to get into the rhythm of dropping more content throughout the year, a couple times a week. We might even get to 3 times a week. So
maybe
go check it out on the channel, and that pretty much covers everything we got to say. So let's get into it. As you can see from the title of this podcast, this is something that we wanted to stress when we first started this podcast, and that's to simplify fitness, to simplify it in a way that works specifically. I don't know what word that was. Specifically for you and your body. So this podcast is all about simplifying fitness. We want to break everything down for you, so where we want you to understand, like, it's not that complicated, right? The things that are complicated is just the misinformation or the contradicting ideas around fitness, but we want to make it simple for you. That way you can carry this on, and you can kind of develop a routine and some structure that'll help you along your fitness goals. So,
yes. And I think with that, the definition of being fit or having fitness in your routine or what fitness is important in kind of what that entails too.
So what's your definition of, because everybody's definition is
different. And everyone's definition is different, and everyone's definition is right? Kind of what you view as fitness is your not just opinion, but it's what you feel. It's what you believe. And so for me, fitness is an all-encompassing journey of your health and your movement, and that also covers your mental health, right? And so it's not just getting in your workout, eating clean. To me, it's just taking care of yourself in a lifestyle way. And so that means like when we go on vacations and I do a workout and people are like, you're supposed to be resting. Like it's fitness. And for me it doesn't
It's
just
life.
take a break. Exactly. And so for me, it's just taking care of my body. And each stage of my life that looks different. You know, I used to just go run. Like I never lifted. And then I incorporated strength training into my fitness. Strength training used to not be a part of my fitness, which is crazy.
Insane.
Looking at it now, you know. So I do think that your definition of fitness can change. But I think it's kind of what you find true to living each day.
Yeah, for sure. And my definition is kind of similar. Like I think it's all encompassing and it's transitioned over time. Like when I was in college, it was all performance based, right? I wanted to be better at football. I want to be able to run faster. I want to be able to jump higher and be able to perform at my peak, right? But as I've transitioned, as I've gotten older, and especially as we've become trainers, we've been training for 10 years now. I've kind of transitioned my way of thinking as far as fitness, in a sense of like, fitness to me is feeling good, feeling good mentally, feeling good physically, feeling good emotionally, right? I want to be able to wake up every day ready to attack the day, right? And realistically speaking, like that's not every day. Some days you're going to be groggy. Some days you're only going to get 6 hours, 5 hours of sleep. But at the end of the day, being fit is just feeling, just having the opportunity to be healthy every single day. And obviously, too, aesthetically, obviously, I want to look good, and feeling confident is all a part of that as well. Like, and that's the world that we're in, and we'll get into that, the social aspects of fitness. But I think a lot of that too in the social world, you want to feel confident in your body. You want to feel confident in just how you move on a daily basis. So I think that's important for a lot of you. The reason we want to define fitness is because we want you to kind of define it for yourself.
Yeah.
And we always talk about this before. Kind of develop your why. Like, what's your why? Why do you go to the gym every day? Why do you, go on long runs? Why do you strength train? Right? Understand why you're doing certain things, and that way, you have some clarity moving forward as to like what you want to achieve and what you want to improve on your everyday life. So,
and also being fit is different, maybe from your definition of fitness too, because being fit can change like every year, like being fit also for you could mean something totally different, completely different than someone else. Being fit to you might mean I want to see abs and lines in my arms, and being fit to someone who's 70 with 8 grandchildren might mean I want to be able to get down on the floor, play with my grandkids and get up with no problem.
For sure.
I want to be able to run around with my grandkids and be able to keep up with them, So being fit can change over time. It's changed for me over time for sure.
Oh yeah.
And that's okay. I think that as your lifestyle, which is where fitness for me is a lifestyle, and as your lifestyle changes, your definition of being fit might change. And just, if you have an autoimmune disease, you understand being fit to you might just mean feeling good. Whereas before, abs used to be so important. Now you might say, I don't care if I have abs. I just want to wake up and be able to move good without pain.
Exactly.
Right. So being fit can change. And I think that's okay. There's definitely not a one size fits all when it comes to being fit. And I think that it doesn't have to be one definition forever.
Yeah. And speaking of pain, I've been through some major injuries in my life. And for some people, it might just be, I just want to wake up and not be hurt. Or I want to wake up and, some people work out for preventative measures.
Yeah.
Like there's preventative training that a lot of people do. When I was coming back from rehab, a lot of the exercises that I was doing was preventative measures to make sure that I'm able to perform, but also I'm prepared, especially playing a sport like football. You have to be prepared to take certain hits or, move your body in a certain way to avoid certain injuries, right? So fitness is so broad. Whatever your definition of it, define it for yourself. And again, like I said, it creates a why. So that way it creates some structure as to what you're trying to achieve on a daily basis. So that's very important. I think that's why we wanted to start with that today, because we want you to just kind of develop that why. So
yes,
as we transition, okay, we talked about our definition. So let's talk about the world of fitness now. So the world of fitness is so different now. Everything, is so social media driven, right? Or just in general, socially, whether it's in commercials, whether it's on Instagram, YouTube, everywhere you look, fitness it's a thing now, which is great. And I love it. I love how people are so into working out, into their nutrition. You see people who are online creators posting recipes every day to give you inspiration on things that you can do inside your kitchen. So that's the good thing. But there also are some bad things that comes with fitness being socially driven as well. Yes. So Toya, give some examples of some bad
bad things. Ways that... I think that unrealistic expectations is the way that I would put this one. And it's just because technology has gotten smarter. So Photoshop used to just be kind of like lighting, like little things, Now there's so many apps that can warp your face.
You got AI
take your
now.
Waistline in, and not just pictures, videos.
Oh my goodness!
You can edit videos now,
you can make your face smoother, filters,
everything.
Wow,
everything. Yes, and so it's not just like the abs and the way the body looks, but yes, like acne and things like that, which obviously if you got a pimple here and there, we're taking that off. But like he said, you can just get rid of anything you want now, and it's not realistic, right? And so it creates unrealistic expectations too. It's so easy to say don't compare yourself to others on the internet, but if you see someone who never works out, they're eating cheeseburgers every day, French fries, and they just look like they're living the life, and you're like, I'm over here eating super clean. I'm working out every day, drinking my water. Why don't I have abs like them? Yeah. Right? They may not have abs, and you're not going to see that, of course. So just unrealistic expectations on what you should look like. And I think also it creates, how do I say this? The power of influence now can create, it can influence you to take things or do things that also don't create realistic results. So
she preaching today, y'all.
It was like, for example, dietary supplements or trying not to say any by name, teas that may make you skinny.
Tummy teas.
Yeah, all of those things that are not good for you are not what those people did to look the way that they look.
Yes.
Like all of that. But if you are really trying to lose some body fat, build your glutes, like all of these things, you're going to do what someone that looks like what you want to look like, you're going to do what they say because you're like, okay, well, if they did that to look like that, I'm going to give it a try.
Especially if you have no idea what you're doing. There are people, we get comments all the time. I've never worked out in my life, which sometimes I find that crazy to believe, but it's true.
It's so true.
There are people who have never done a workout in their life, and they are trusting people who, of course, you're going to trust somebody who looks the part, right?
Absolutely.
If you go into a gym and you want to find a trainer, and I'm not trying to make fun of anybody, but if you see a guy who's a larger set and you're trying to lose weight, you're likely not going to choose that trainer because you're looking for someone who fits the description of what you want to achieve, right? So that's one of the downs. There's so many downsides and bad things too.
But I will say too, we create content and I can say fully with my chest that I will never influence a product that I don't personally use or have used or think could be very beneficial for you. Because it's one, I don't want people doing unrealistic things and then coming back later and being like, hey, but two, a lot of them can be so unhealthy for you, and then it's just creating more issues further down the line. And I wouldn't want that, and I think also understanding the trust that people put in us. They believe what you say. So we could, probably 95% of products that we turn down, could say, sure, write the check, send the check over. Here, guys, take this. And people would take it.
And I want to be real with y'all. A lot of the companies that we have reached out to, they are offering some crazy money too. Like it's not like chump change. Like they're offering some money that some people who and I always say too, with being a creator comes a responsibility, especially when you have a community of people who are trusting what you're saying, who are trusting your every move. There are some people who take that for granted and they're like, and I get it. For some people, it's like, look, I got to get this paper. I got to get this money. But at the end of the day, you got to understand you got
the responsibility.
You got a responsibility, and you got to protect the people who trust your everyday words. So I think another example of that is I say about a year or so ago, we were posting what I eat in a day. That was just kind of a popular trend. A lot of people were just curious, or like days in a life. Like, what do you eat? What do you eat? Like, how do you go about your day? How do you work out? All that stuff. And it was cool. And we it was fun to do. But at the end of the day, like, social media is a highlight. It's a highlight reel. Sports in the top 10. Like, you're going to show the things that you want people to see. Like, you want to show, like, for example, I'm going to put Toya out there. She has an autoimmune disease, and what all of you see.
Shout out to all my lupus warriors.
Shout out to the lupus warriors out there. But what all of you see on YouTube every day is Toya smiling, happy, getting through a workout, blah, blah, blah. But what I see every day, some days Toya feels great, and some days Toya is just hurting.
Complaining a lot.
Exactly. And it's not necessarily from her workouts. It's not, from, it's an autoimmune disease. Her body just attacks itself sometimes, right? So she's not going to, she could show that, but that's not what she wants to show. That's not what she wants to portray, right? She wants to give positive energy out there.
Yeah, and
so
maybe I need to show
she should
a little bit more, but I think for me, I think my mindset is I just want it to like disappear, and so I don't want to put it out there because then I don't want to make it like in the energy essentially. But
she doesn't like, and I'm kind of like that too. Even when like my Achilles, I didn't want any sympathy.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, look, I don't have an Achilles, but I want to still work out. I want to show you that I'm good. Like I'm not. That doesn't make me weak. And Toya is a very strong spirited person, so she doesn't want, even though she probably should show certain days where it's just she doesn't have it. And sometimes she does. She'll get on her story on Instagram and say, look, today I was supposed to lift heavy in my leg day, and it just wasn't it today. My knees were hurting, my ankles were hurting. I was just very inflamed. I'm bloated. Just doesn't feel good, right? But it's the highlights, right? The people on a daily basis want to show you the highlights. If you follow someone's literally everyday move, there might be some things within that you might not necessarily agree with or want to follow, right? So kind of keep that in mind in the sense of like who you're following. And this kind of leads me to my next point, and I kind of skip ahead, but take inspiration from people, but don't follow their every move, right?
Yes.
Like inspiration is great. And that's the good thing about social media, like we mentioned. Take inspiration from those recipes. Take inspiration from workout splits that you might see. Take inspiration even from our YouTube. We've had trainers come up to us and say, look, I've done some of your workouts and I've taken some of those exercises and used them from the client. I would love that. Like, please, like we love to share as much as we can with people, but also we've seen, and I'm not going to say any names or channels, but we've seen like people who completely take our entire workouts, right?
Bar for bar.
Bar for bar. There are people who are selling our videos to people as programs, right? They were literally following and taking every single move that we were doing, right? And that's where the downfall happens, right? Take inspiration from things that you like and you enjoy, but at the end of the day, there are 7 billion people on Earth, and all 7 billion people are going to require different things to make them successful in reaching their goals. So
yes, and this is why we don't create meal plans. This is why you should never purchase a meal plan that's just for you, Greg, Sally, and Susan, all in different parts of America.
Greg, Sally, and Susan.
What if there's a Greg, Sally, and Susan listening? Shout out to all of you.
Shout out to Greg, Sally, and Susan.
There is no such thing as one meal plan that works for everyone.
Never.
No such thing. Your dietary preference are different. Your genetics are 100% different.
Let's not get started with genetics.
You may have grown up in different regions where you tolerate different foods, etc. The list goes on. So there is no one size fits all with food. There's no one size fits all with workouts. Like, you think if I did every workout Juice did and I ate the way Juice did, would I look like Juice? And I want you to ask yourself that, like, seriously, like if you ate everything I ate and did exact workouts that I did, you would not look like me. It took me years to build this muscle. So I'm at a different foundation. It took him years to build what he has. He's at a different foundation.
I went through some torture to build this muscle.
And let's say 10 years from now, he looks completely different, right? He still would be at a different point than you would. Even if you guys look the same, he still has a different foundation than you do, right? He has different genetics. So there's we say take inspiration, don't follow, because you could be looking at someone being like, I'm going to do exactly what they did.
Yeah.
One, it may not be all that they're doing, because remember we said that social media is a highlight reel.
Yeah.
So they could be doing things that they're not showing you that might be vital to the way that they look. Or it just might, their genetics are different, right? And so
that's the bottom line, really.
10 times out of 10, if you follow exactly what someone else is doing, you are not going to look like them.
Yeah.
And you might lose body fat, but for you, it might come from your legs, and for them, it comes from their waist first. So you might be irritated, like,
yo, why
am I not losing in my stomach?
Why my legs skinny and their waist is
yeah, and that's just the way your genetics work.
Yeah.
So, and a good example of that is, I love cooking, right? And so take inspiration. A good example is like, you can find any recipe you want online now, but there's certain foods that I don't tolerate. So I tweak them. I take a recipe and I'm like, okay, that has rice. I'm going to add bonza rice or quinoa or different, So think about a recipe. Like let's say you're lactose intolerant and it has dairy. You're going to sub that out for something that works for you, right? So same thing with workouts, same thing with meal plans. Like it's got to work for you and only you know your body.
And it's trial and error too, because there's things we've taken inspiration from, and then we realize like, yo, I can't tolerate this. Like
I used to eat rice 3 times a week.
And now she can't eat it at all, right? So I used to drink milk and eat a lot of dairy products now, and now I don't know what happened. Over time, it's just my body's like, yo, bro, we not doing that no more. So again, take inspiration, don't follow, and that's the thing. Take inspiration, and that's the beauty in social media and fitness being socially driven is you can literally take something and formulate it in a way that's going to work for you and your body. That's the beauty in it. We do that. There's a reason why we put all these different types of workouts out as well. Like people, if we imagine if we went on YouTube and saying like the only way you're going to reach your goals is if you're doing dumbbell strength workouts every day, right?
Not true.
But it's not true. But people who don't know fitness will believe us, right? And that's the irresponsibility that comes with sometimes people who have a community. They think like I got the way, like I got the secret, I got the juice, right? Where realistically, which leads me to my next point, there are thousands. There are countless ways to reach your goals. There's not just one way, right?
Yep.
We have totally separate clients, and they have the same exact goals sometimes, but some of our clients have limitations. Some of our clients are different ages. Some of our clients have are at a different fitness level, right? Which requires a different program.
And they live in different places. So like, for example,
Talk to me.
One person that I have that loves to hike and bike and run is currently in a frozen tundra to where that's not possible. So we have to find different ways to get in cardio, right? And so I think one of the biggest things when we first started training is when people would say, I refuse to run. I'm not running. I don't care what you tell me. I'm not running. I'm like, who told you that you have? That was one of the most common things.
That was like the first thing they would bring up.
The first thing they would bring up. I'm not running. Exactly. And so that just goes to show that somewhere down the line, they thought that the only way to lose weight is either running or the popular one, copious amounts of cardio, right? And that's not true. Can cardio help? Yes. Absolutely. And I think still to this day, probably every time we start a program, we get hundreds of people.
Literally
How much cardio do I need to do? And at first we were like, what? You don't have to do any, right? If you want to. And the answer always shocks people where they're like, well, I'm trying to lose weight.
Okay.
Cool. Right.
I have people who don't do a lick of cardio. They've done nothing but strength training and lose body fat. Right?
Now, being active, you still need to move. Like your workout alone is your 1 hour workout. If it's even that, is not going to be enough movement for the day, but go on a nice long walk, go on a hike, go on a bike ride. If you don't like to run, don't run, right?
Don't do it.
Be prepared always to run away if your life depends on it. So maybe like keep it in rotation every once in a while.
That's actually important because you never know what's going to go down.
Absolutely.
Especially, I think too, like, I would think of myself, like, if I'm a parent as well, like, if I have kids, let's say you have a baby and they're just running off into the street. You want to be able
to react.
Right. You want to be physically capable. Of course, you're going to get a little adrenaline that's going to help you out, but you want to have the capabilities to be able to kick that into gear when you need it. So,
and I think too, you
ain't got to run 5 miles.
You don't have to run. I don't like cycling. I do not like spinning or cycling.
You don't like
I've never taken a spin class in my life. I've used the spin bike, but I've never taken a class. so many people enjoy it. Obviously, how many spin classes are surrounded by us? That is something that
people... Peloton's huge. People love spinning.
Huge. Peloton, SoulCycle. I think Flywheel's another one. And people love it. I love running, right? And so, and there's probably people who are on those spin bikes that hate running, you know? So we all have our thing that we enjoy. And I think that is the beauty of understanding that there's more than one way to do something, because it's possible to enjoy your movement and still reach your goals.
Exactly. Right? Don't suffer in order to reach your goals. You know,
sometimes things might be hard and it might suck.
And we mentioned this in the last podcast. Like, one thing that comes with, and this is a bottom line. Like, one thing that comes with wanting to reach your goals. I don't care if you're trying to build muscle, strength, lose body fat. The bottom line is you have to make yourself uncomfortable. We mentioned this in the last podcast. You have to make yourself uncomfortable in a sense to progress, right? If you're doing something that's easy for your body's not really reacting to anything, nothing's really going to change. And this goes for your diet as well. Like, if you're used to eating cheeseburgers every day and ice cream, you got to make your diet a little bit more uncomfortable in a way to reach your goals. And let me clarify, that doesn't mean it has to be nasty. Yeah. That doesn't mean it has to be rabbit food, right? You can have a very nutritious diet, but also be something that you enjoy. We cook every day because we have a calendar literally in our kitchen of all the meals that we're going to eat for dinner for the week. And these are all things that we enjoy. We look forward to making these things. But never do I go into the kitchen like, I got to eat this cabbage and kale and bland chicken with no salt and pepper. I'm like, no, that's
doesn't have to be that way.
That's not realistic. And we preach sustainability, right? Like, do something and create a routine and a program that's sustainable. Like, it doesn't have to be torturous every day, because that's not realistic. And we want you to wake up every day looking forward to the opportunity to get better and grow, and not, I got to eat these bland egg whites. Like, no, like it can be great for you. The workouts can be fun, right? And this is the whole reason why we started our YouTube channel, because we wanted fitness to be something that people can do and actually enjoy the process of it, enjoy, and that's another reason why we have a variety of workouts as well. We don't just have dumbbell workouts. We have body weight. We have recovery workouts, resistance bands, kettlebell, like you name it, because we know that there's no one size fits all, which leads us to the next point. There's no one size fits all. There are people who, one thing we've been wanting to do is put out more kettlebell workouts. Like, a lot of our workouts are dumbbell and body weight based, because we know majority of people have dumbbells and of course their body weight, but some people have kettlebells and they enjoy kettlebell work and they just want to do kettlebells.
Different modality.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And you don't have to just do dumbbells all the time. You can do kettlebells, you can do barbells, right? At the end of the day, whatever you enjoy and you can be consistent with, that's what's going to help you reach your goal.
Yep. And we talked about this during the Fresh Start Challenge. We actually had a few people message and ask. They were like, I have a kettlebell. One girl actually just asked the other day, can I use 2 kettlebells instead of 2 dumbbells? Sure. Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am.
We want you to incorporate different modalities so that it doesn't get boring. And honestly, too, sometimes the different modalities make it a little harder in terms of like you're recruiting different muscles and you're using your core a little bit more. I personally think 2 kettlebells front squat is much harder than 2 dumbbell front squats. So,
and there are different movements that you can do with kettlebells.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
So it kind of opens up a different world of exercises for you to where, again, you don't get bored doing the same thing over and over again.
And it makes your body uncomfortable.
Right. Different stimuluses. So no one size fits all. But then kind of the next point, educate yourself. And
talk to me.
With that, it's with anything, right? Not just the exercises, the food, supplements, things like that. But anytime someone is recommending something or you're curious about something, don't do it because they are. Yeah. Do you need it, right? I think probably the most common supplement we get asked about is creatine. And I don't take creatine. He doesn't take creatine.
No.
Does that mean you shouldn't? No. Right. And so a lot of times when people ask and we say no, they're like, okay, I won't. And I'm like,
no, don't do that.
No. So you don't know why I'm not taking it, right? You don't know why he's not. So you should look at any supplement as, do I need this? And supplement is in itself the definition. It is supplementing your diet. So it's something that you need that you're not getting enough of in nutrition. So that's kind of been our thing when it comes to especially supplements.
Yeah.
Always educate yourself, because even if there was one product that I was like, you have to take this, it's going to change your life, you might be intolerant to it, and it might mess you up, right? And so even if there's one thing I swear by, it still may not work for you. I don't really take, the only supplement I use is protein powder, but I'm so cautious just because my body reacts. It's so sensitive to everything.
She can't digest, like, for example, like pea protein.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen Toya drink like pea protein, and her stomach would like
expand in front of your eyes.
Up. Yeah. Like, she would look pregnant, like literally, because of her stomach, her colon is not, it doesn't tolerate it.
I tolerate whey protein just fine.
Correct.
He does
I love
not.
pea protein.
If you look in our cabinet right now, there is pea protein and there is whey protein. We are not the same.
If I drink some whey protein, I'm going to have a bad day tomorrow.
Yes.
I'm letting you know right now. I'm going to have a bad day.
And so where it doesn't, a lot of times they'll be like, is vegan better for you? Or is this protein powder better? Not always. And so sometimes if you're intolerant to whey, you're not going to like the protein that I use. It's not going to be for you. So always educate yourself. If there's an exercise that, even our programs, why are we programming the way that we are? You know, like sometimes you should be curious about those things. Like, what does this exercise do for me? Are you just doing the exercise because we said?
Yeah.
Or are you really feeling your quads? Are you understanding what that squat is doing?
Yeah.
Or are you just going through the motions? You know, we want you to understand these things. And I think that one of the best compliments we ever got was after one of our last programs, somebody messaged us and said, I am getting my CPT, which is Certified Personal Trainer certification, because she was so curious about how like these exercises changed my body and like just the way that movement and proper nutrition truly changed her body. She was so curious about it. She's like, I'm going to go learn this.
And I recommend that to anybody.
Yes.
Like, you can get your CPT and not have to be a trainer.
Yeah.
Right? Like getting your CPT, and it's been a while since we got taken that, but obviously
back in the day.
Back in the day. But we went to school for this, so it's a we had the knowledge. I don't even think I studied for the CPT. I just took it, but it's a good tool to just understand how the body works, how the body moves, and I think that will kill a lot of the ideas that people have surrounding like how the body is supposed to work. Like, people really wake up every day thinking like, I'm going to lose 30 pounds this month, right? For some people that might be possible, but for most people, 90% of the people, that's not realistic or even possible. So along with the idea of supplements, I think another problem with that is people, it's a lot of FOMO. Like, people feel like they're missing out on something. And we mentioned that.
Especially in the day and age of influencers. If someone is pushing a product, if you click on it once, it is all up and down your feed with 50 different influencers.
Oh my God. Like, literally, like, I don't know what it was I clicked on. It was on my computer. It was in my email. I was like, how'd you even get my email?
Yep.
But
it will find you.
People have a fear of missing out. And I think they're missing the entire point of why people present certain products. If you have a creator that you love and you trust what they say, yes, they might be presenting a product that could work for you, but don't think like you're missing out on something. Do your research. Like she said, educate yourself. Don't just say, oh, I'm going to take this. Like, understand why you're taking it, right? Like, you might not, it might have an ingredient in there. There are people who might have allergic reactions to certain things, and they're just following somebody and they're not even paying attention to the ingredients. Like, I mean, Toya does that sometimes where she'll go on her Target runs and she'll find a new snack, and then she'll eat this new snack, and then she's like, Julius, my stomach's hurting. And then what do? We go to the kitchen, look at the ingredients. Oh, organic rice flour.
And the crazy thing is that I can eat rice cakes, zero problem.
Zero. It's crazy.
Zero. But Perfect Bars, which I loved, rice protein, blew up like a fish. It is wild. And sometimes people will be like, why can you eat rice cakes if you can't have rice?
I wish we could figure that out.
It has been a medical mystery. I've been to doctor after. It took me a long time to figure out that rice in general is a problem for me. So that's kind of where I think you mentioned earlier, it can take trial and error.
Yeah.
It can. I ate rice every week consistently, at least.
Like, together, we were eating rice for
at
lunch.
least 2 to 3 times because it was easy.
Yeah.
We were super busy then. So it was like we would get the Uncle Ben's like
90
microwave,
seconds.
put it on the side with some chicken, add some veggies,
You
boom,
good.
done. Right.
Done.
So then I just became, I know what it was.
Let's talk about it.
Real quick.
Let's talk about
We
it.
tried to go vegan for a little bit.
Not a little bit.
Ruined
it was about 4 months.
my life.
Yeah,
I can say that.
And yes.
And here's why though.
Yes.
We were so active. I say ruined my life because we kind of went to it like, we're going to stop eating meat, and we were buying these fake meats and like,
no, I don't want to say.
Yeah, we were buying fake meat. So we went from eating lean proteins to processed
And
things,
not
like
just lean proteins, quality. Because we did take, pride in the proteins that we were buying.
I stopped eating eggs. I stopped eating fish. I stopped eating all meat, cheese, everything. Fake cheeses, fake meats, and the ingredients in some of them. After we stopped being vegan, and I looked and I was like,
what is that?
I can't believe. So there's, I believe, a right way to be vegetarian and vegan.
Yes.
Like, because I've never felt worse. I've never felt worse. I mean, I probably gained like 5 or 6 pounds.
Yeah,
like,
she gained weight.
And just bloat, and my workouts, my energy, I wasn't recovering properly.
Yeah.
So after, how long did we do that? Maybe like 6 weeks?
Like vegan?
Yeah.
It was I think it was a solid 2, almost 3 months.
Yeah.
It was 2 months, and because we had like cut out cheese, and they were like, that's stupid. That's not realistic. We added cheese. So it kind of became more vegetarian.
And then I added eggs back in. Yeah. But then we also switched to a vegan protein powder. I was using whey. We switched to a vegan protein powder, and the vegan protein powder was rice protein.
Yeah.
And so I was down to literally drinking only shakes because I was trying to figure out, I was seeing doctors, and I'm like, one day I'll show a picture. I was breaking out in forehead blister rashes. And I remember a doctor telling me it's something you're eating. The way that it's showing up in your body, you are eating something that you're not digesting. And I couldn't figure it out. And then one day I was like, I'm only going to make smoothies. I'm going to eliminate all food and just slowly bring things. I was starving, guys, and still putting on weight.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure it out. And so then finally we broke it down to rice protein.
Yep.
Then I cut out the rice. I was feeling better. I started adding lean proteins back in.
Yep.
Never felt better. Immediately, puffiness gone. My workouts back to normal.
Correct.
So back to one size does not fit all. I know so many, even when I was bodybuilding, I knew so many vegans who were bodybuilding, and it worked great for them. They weren't eating a lot of processed stuff.
Yeah.
I did it wrong, you know, and it's now I can say that's not for me. It's not for me. It might be for you. It might be for other people, but I thrived on, again, though, the quality of the meats that we were eating did make a difference. And paying attention to where we were getting our meats and even produce and fish and everything else, all of that makes a difference. But that's just a prime example to show that one size does not fit.
I think, and that's the thing, I don't want people to come at us thinking, oh, you're shaming vegan. Like, no, not at all. And if anything, well, one thing we learned in all of this is, like, I mean, we knew this, but being vegan, or if you're someone who's thinking about going vegan, again, educate yourself on why you want to become vegan, which we did not do, right? we were just doing it. But we were at a stage in our lives where we were so experimental, and we were trying to just figure out a way to just, honestly, it all boils down to just feeling better. We wanted to feel like we'll be like vegan, implementing more what we thought was fruits and vegetables into our diet. Will that help? I mean, she spoke on her intolerances. I didn't even talk about them. I'm not even gonna get too deep into it. But with me, at the time I was a 200-pound muscular. I'm muscular now, but I was a lot more muscular then. I was just focused on building muscle. Feel like I was still trying to play football. I wasn't getting nearly the amount of the protein that I was getting in. And what was happening was we were buying these fake soy meats, which had protein in it, but my body wasn't tolerating.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
The bioavailability of the protein is not the same.
And my body was not utilizing that protein. And what happens, right? I'm shredding up my muscles every day, and I'm going home thinking I'm getting in the protein that I need. My body's breaking down. I'm not efficient in my workouts. I was getting injured. I was pulling muscles, and I was like, man, it's something going on with it. Like
but I'm eating my fruits and vegetables.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was the downside, right? We wasn't educated necessarily on what we needed to do to have optimal protein intake for the type of workouts that we were doing. But the good thing that came out of us experimenting with vegan is that we found more ways to implement real fruits and vegetables into our everyday lives, which literally to this day we include in our meals, and that was a good thing. So we do.
I don't know that I'd ever really had quinoa before we did that, and I love quinoa. We went crazy with the quinoa. Just experimenting with different vegetables, fruits, grains, things like that.
We say all this to say this might not be definite, but I think where her intolerances came from is that, especially when you start pulling foods away from your diet, and you try to reintroduce it, it becomes foreign to the body sometimes, right? We would order I'm not gonna tell you where we order from, but it was
really good Chinese restaurant.
It was this good Chinese restaurant. This is when we were.
I don't even know if they're still open.
I don't think so. But which might be a bad thing. But we were in our puppy love stage because we had just gotten together, and I think it was every Friday we would order from this place, and we would smash some rice. It was fried rice, the good old orange chicken, all that stuff. We would eat that all the time, and then we went through our, we were cleaning everything up, thinking we were being healthier. We took, certain products out. We weren't eating as much rice and stuff, and then we reintroduced it, and we couldn't figure it out, and then it got to a point where we did a lot of trial and error, and then now she can't. To this day.
And had we
honestly too, I was eating a lot of dairy products before then, and now I will explode.
He cannot have dairy products, so it definitely changed something.
Correct.
And again, we should have educated ourselves more on, if we're truly going to go vegan, how can we get in proper protein?
Correct.
Because the fake meats, it's not the same protein.
It's not.
Let's say it's 20 grams of protein. You might only be getting 10 out of that, right? So it's not the same. We would have been better off not eating any of the fake proteins and having chickpeas, lentils, quinoa, things like true. It is very possible to get in protein, your daily protein needs, being vegetarian or vegan. It just requires a larger volume of certain whole proteins or complete proteins. I'm sorry. And for us, we are fine on eating animal product. We tolerate them well. We make sure we get good quality, and that's the way we choose to eat, but it definitely is possible to get in complete proteins. We just weren't doing that.
And it's sad to say, and we'll move on to the next topic, but it's sad to say, buying quality. Why is buying quality protein more expensive? And in this day and age, buying quality foods is an investment.
Yes,
it's not just go to the grocery store and get your normal run. For some people, that's hard on the pockets.
Yep,
It's $2 or $3 more for chicken breast. It's $2 or $3 more for a freaking bell pepper.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
We always say it's just the two of us. We don't have to feed a family, and so it is much harder.
Yes.
It is a lot harder. It's way more expensive. And for us, I think we've said this a million times before. We don't spend a lot of money on other things because we love to eat, and so we almost budget for this proper food, but some people don't have that ability. Their budget, they have a lower food budget that, that's what they have to work with.
Organic everything.
Yes. Yeah. Also, where you're located, where I grew up, it is much harder to get organic fishes and things like that. Meats, there's lots of farms. So it's, red meats especially, that's much easier to get, organic or grass-fed. But fish, I didn't grow up eating a lot of fish.
And I grew up in Houston where seafood is very prevalent.
Yes.
And she didn't really, the first time she made salmon for me, I was like, is this chicken?
Because guess what?
She didn't know how to prepare it. It was frozen.
And I cooked it through.
And I'm spoiled because I'm so used to having fresh seafood.
Yes.
That I was I could never eat once you had something that's fresh, straight out, literally straight out the water. My dad, we would go to Kima in Houston. If you're from Houston, you know Kima. Like we would drive all the way down to Kima just to get some fresh fish, and we would cook it on the spot. Like so when I met her and she was eating, I was like, "What is this?"
Yeah,
you know.
And it's because the only time I really had fish was when I was in college and I was doing my bikini bodybuilding, and there'd be fish on my meal plan. Yeah. Guess what I bought? The frozen fish, because it was cheaper. I was on a college budget. I couldn't spend $12.99 for a pound of salmon, and she wants me to eat almost a pound a day. Do you know how much money that is a week? Like,
for what?
So to me, I was like, oh, I can get a bag of frozen for $10.
Oh, give me
Throw
that.
it in the cart, you know? So yeah, different things. But one last point on this.
Segue, actually.
Perfect segue is don't fall into traps. So diets, different fads, different programs, different detoxes and things like that. Don't fall into it. All of the points that we mentioned earlier, one size doesn't fit all. There's no one diet that's good for everyone. Educate yourself. If you're about to start a program, if you are interested in a diet or a meal plan, educate yourself on it. What does it look like once you're done with that? That is the one thing I think people, you just want to get to the goal, but then what? But then what? You know? And just really understand your body, because a lot of diets, fads, gimmicks, all of that, when we say it's too good to be true, it 99% of the time.
And it's everywhere. Don't think it's just on social media. We see commercial. What was that commercial we saw?
I'm not going to say the
Don't
name
say the
of
name,
it,
but say what they did.
At the bottom of the screen,
the fine
it
print.
said, because I think now, I don't know if this is a new rule or what, but you're seeing where it has to be real results in people.
Yeah.
And it said that the person lost, it was 38 pounds in 20 months, I believe is what it was.
Yeah.
Where it came down to the person lost 1.9 pounds a month. All they said though was she lost 38 pounds on our program. If you hear that, you're like, I'm trying to lose 40 pounds.
But you didn't ask.
Do you know how long 20 months is? Almost 2 years.
Wow.
Right? And to be quite honest with you,
that's a lifestyle change.
That exactly. But if you worked out and ate well,
you can do it
and
quicker
moved,
than that.
You could do it quicker than that, sustainably too, and realistically,
without having to take a pill or get a
paying
shot
for
in your
this
butt.
product that was being promoted.
Correct,
you know, so again, do your research, because if you when I saw that fine print, I was like, oh my goodness, go back, and I literally rewinded it, and I was like. And it was like this big. You're not going to see it. Yep. And so, like
Jason lost 100 pounds taking this product, and then in the
4 years,
it said, and Jason lost that weight in 56 months. Yes, it's like, who has 5 years to lose weight? Nobody. Not even me. If I had to lose it.
Yeah, and so that's where it's like, don't just fall into those traps. Like there are some products that might be great for you, or they might aid in reaching your goals, or they might be necessary for your health. You might have to take a certain product due to a health condition or whatever. Wonderful. Educate yourself on it and make sure that it works for you. Just because it worked for your friend doesn't mean not only that it might not work for you, it might work, but is it good for you?
Yes.
What will happen in the long
sustainability,
run?
People.
That's the key.
That's the name of the game. So the bottom line in this is the trap beater, right? Don't fall into the trap. The beater is educating yourself, right? If you see something, even if it's somebody that you trust and you love them and everything that they've said has been something that has benefited you in one way or another, still do your research. I don't even care if it's from us, right? We've had products that we promoted that we actually use. Does that mean it's going to work for you?
Nope.
No, right? But we try to disclaimer that in our video, even what I eat in the days, we say, look, this is what I eat. This is what works for me. And that way nobody can come into the comments and say, well, you said it's going to make, no.
Nope.
I said, this is what I do. This is what I follow, and it works for me.
And even like, just an example, our protein shake, I remember there was a flavor that came out, and I was like, it was the blueberry peanut butter. Correct. Is what it was. Yes. And I loved it. I mean, I told my client, you have to get this. It's the best flavor I ever had. She thought it was the nastiest thing in the world, right? And I was like, wait, are you being serious?
You sure about that?
And so that's just a really good example of like the naked protein. We love naked nutrition. You might get it and hate it. You know, so, and that's okay.
And some people say, I love it, I use it every day. And some people's like, I hate it.
Yeah.
I don't like it. So
you might hate it if you're used to fillers, because it's clean. It's clean.
It's clean. Minimal ingredients.
I remember when we first started using it, I was like,
Yeah, it's different.
Tastes different, but we got used to it. But anyways, that's just, an example of like, even like you said, what we use, it might not be
exactly
for you.
So again, understand that, fitness, we say all this, we went 30 minutes on this topic alone, but fitness is socially driven, right? And whether you're a creator and you're presenting things, right, you have a responsibility in making sure that the people who follow you and trust your everyday word, that they know that, look, this may not work for you, but this is something that I use and works for me. And I think this could be beneficial for my audience, right? On the flip side, if you're the audience, right, understand like, look, I love this person. They present things to me that I love, but I need to do my research on this to make sure that it's something that works for me, or even my family. Protect your family as well. You might be buying a product that you want to try and your family's trying, you're putting them in harm's way as well, right? You don't want to influence goes a long ways. It's a long chain effect that comes with influence. So again, there's responsibility on both sides that you kind of have to have. So again, we say all this to say, look at how much conflicting things that can happen, right? That this is all the things that complicates fitness, right? There, one person saying one thing, another person saying another thing, and you don't know what to follow, right? So with that, real quick, we're going to give you, we always like to leave you with something. So we're going to teach you the simplicity of fitness, right? We want you to follow these keys. That way you can follow these things and understand, and it all surrounds educating yourself. So first things first, set yourself up for consistency, right? And we mentioned this in multiple podcasts, pretty much every podcast, but we're gonna nail it in the coffin. Like, set yourself up for consistency, right? That starts with having a goal. We said this in the last podcast, have a goal and have a routine. That's the number one thing you have to do, right? And routine surrounding your workouts, routine surrounding your mobility and your nutrition. Make this a part of your everyday life, right? If you have a routine, the name of the game is consistency. There's no secrets. There's no secret pills. The secret, if anything, is being consistent with something that is going to work for you and your body, right? So that's that. That's the number one thing. If you got to write these down, do so.
No matter what way, we said there's 1,000 ways to reach your goal. No matter what way you choose, staying consistent in it is going to be the way to reach your goal. I know that's not probably what you want to hear, but it's, look, you're taking it from two people who have found this truth. Exactly. The next thing, you can say, go ahead. The next thing is, it's very important to us, and it should be for most people, make strength training the core of your program, right? I don't care if you're trying to lose weight. I don't care if you're trying to build, especially if you're trying to build muscle or strength. Strength training needs to be the core of your program. And you may ask Juice, well, okay, I understand that, but how much should I do it, right? That depends on your goals. But generally speaking, if you're someone who's just looking to get into fitness, you don't really work out much, 2 to 3 times a week of strength training is good enough to where you can see some progress. It's realistic. And 3 out of 7 days, even if you don't really work out on those other days, that's 3 out of those 7 days that you're putting toward building strength. And we'll go into a whole nother podcast about the importance of strength training and why it will be beneficial for you, especially, again, 70% of the people who come to our channel want to lose body fat, right? Yeah. That is an important step. You have to make strength training a core part of your program. And strength training can be bands, dumbbells, kettlebells, body weight. Strength training can be so many different things. It does not have to be putting a barbell over your head and throwing it.
It can you don't have to do that. If that's what you enjoy, great.
That's great. You know, so it can be whatever you want it to be. So next, fill in those blanks with things that you enjoy. So like you said, if you're doing the strength training for the bare minimum, you don't want to strength train more a week, do things that you enjoy. So those other days, they don't even have to be considered a workout. You don't have to go to the gym. If you enjoy running, find some fun 5Ks for you to do. Yeah. If you enjoy cycling, find a new cycling path. Maybe you can say every weekend, I'm going to find a new trail to go cycle. Like there are other ways that you can incorporate movement that will help you reach your goal without having to go to the gym or do something. Like for me, if someone was like, you have to cycle to get lean legs, I would be like, heck no. Well, then I don't want lean legs. So it doesn't have to be things that you dread. It can be things that you enjoy that still count towards.
And that's what we want to teach, do things you enjoy because it makes working out fun. This is why we have Step to the Beats. This is why we have we try to be upbeat and we do those little celebrations at the end of the workout because we want it to be fun. We want you to look forward to working out every day. Same thing with your food and nutrition, right? Nutrition can taste great. It can taste good. And everything that we write on our little calendar in the kitchen, we look forward to. Like tonight, we're making some homemade chicken fried rice. Rice for her, but rice.
Shout out to Bonza.
Shout out to Bonza.
If you ever see me promoting Bonza, know that I will.
It's chickpea
I
rice.
will promote Bonza to the death of me.
Yep.
They saved my life.
Saved her life
with
because she loves
chickpea rice. There's zero flour or zero rice flour in it. So shout out to Bonza, but also we love their pastas as well. So
exactly.
Shout out to them.
So to the point, do things you enjoy. If you want to strength train 2 to 3 times a week, find some fillers in between that to do stuff that you enjoy. I have a client who loves to play pickleball, and it's so fun to him that he doesn't even realize that he's being active. He's exercising. Right. But guess what? All of that movement and extra activity is helping him work toward his goal. So that's the beauty in it. Again, find something that you enjoy, and every week it'll. What's the name of the game? What do we preach? It's going to help you be
consistent.
Consistency, right? Yeah. So, great. What's next?
Next up, intuitive eating. Your nutrition, you knew it was coming. Your nutrition is important. So your nutrition, and what we mean by intuitive eating, it's listening to your body and eating for listening to hunger cues, eating for what your body needs.
Yeah.
And that can be hard for some people, especially when you don't understand what macros are and the benefits that they have to you. So for example, understanding that carbs help supply energy, or understanding
carbs
are good, that protein aids in recovery, and also that fats are important for digestion and brain health and things. So understanding what you need may be hard when you don't understand. So intuitive eating does take some trial and error and some educating yourself on the different macros. But just understanding that, like, if you're feeling lethargic and sluggish and you've only had protein all day long, you're going to need some fats and some carbs in there, right? So understanding the foods that you eat and the role that they play in your body and how they make you feel. So your nutrition is more important than anything else, but it doesn't have to be difficult. So like he said, we incorporate foods that we enjoy, and you can do that intuitively.
Yes.
I went hiking with a friend today, and after we went to get lunch, I was like, I'm starving. I needed some protein. I had worked out with him earlier, and then I went hiking. So my main priority was like, I need some carbs and some protein now. And so I just kind of looked at the menu and was like, what are some good carbs and protein that are also going to be nourishing for my body? I easily could have had pancakes, but there was zero protein in that. So I just listened and I was like, I know I need some protein right now. Like, I'm achy. So intuitive eating, like I said, it can take some time to learn what your body needs. But once you listen to your body, once you educate yourself on the macros, it can be so much easier. Like your nutrition, the whole podcast, Simplifying Fitness, it's so much easier when you look at a menu and you say, I need some carbs and some protein. Where are we at? You know, or if you say I need carbs, fat, and protein, usually there's some type of bowl. Usually there's some type of something that you can put together versus me just getting pancakes, which was zero protein. I would have had to go home and eat another meal because I would not have been satisfied body-wise with zero protein.
For sure.
So.
And even if you have to like track because that's another thing we recommend to people, because some people don't understand what macros certain foods
or how
contain.
Much you're getting.
So sometimes we recommend people, even for a week or two, just track your foods, learn how to track your calories, carbs, proteins, and fats, and then that'll honestly help you eat intuitively because you know how much protein you need, and then it allows you to listen to your body. Like right now, she mentioned lethargic. I'm hungry. We usually film in the morning. It's 5:53 in the evening, so we're getting pretty hungry. So my body's like, hey, yo, bro, you need some protein and carbs. So, we've kind of learned how to eat intuitively. And honestly, it's more realistic. It's sustainable over time. And you don't have to you don't have to track. Tracking is not realistic. It's just a good way to learn. Again, educating yourself. So another tip, be active every day. We mentioned this in our last positive. Mentioned this in our last podcast. See, I can't even think right now. I'm hungry.
We're hungry.
We mentioned this in our last podcast. Be active in some way, shape, or form every single day. It doesn't have to be strenuous. Like we mentioned, you can go on a walk, bike ride. You can do some yoga, stretching, mobility work. Doesn't matter. Move your body every day. Do not underestimate how much that activity can add up in reaching your goals. And then last but not least, this is a bonus one, but this is a mental thing. And I kind of added on to this. When it comes to reaching your goals, we have goals that might be 6 months away, 2 years away, doesn't matter. Focus on the now and not the finish line. And I know that's easy for me to say, but here's why. When you focus on the finish, think about when you go on a run, right? Let's say you go on a 6-mile run, and the entire time you're thinking about finishing those 6 miles. You're going to dread that run. It's going to be painful, right? You're mentally not going to be able to get through it because you're just constantly checking your timer, checking your watch. Oh, I'm almost there, right? That's not a realistic way of doing it. But if you're focusing on the now, like when we go running now, like we take different routes. We're like looking at different restaurants. When we run together, we have conversations. Or when I run by myself, I put on a podcast, right? I kind of put myself in a different place or kind of think of things in the moment or keep my mind stimulated to where when I finish that 6-mile run, I wasn't focused on the finish line. And when I finished, I was like, oh, that was a good run.
I'm done.
Right. And I learned something in this podcast that I listened to. Right. So focus on the now, focus on every single day as an opportunity, right? Focus on, completing the day and making the bet. And every day is, I always call it the bank, right? You're adding, you're depositing some workouts to the bank. You're depositing good nutrition to the bank every single day. And that is going to add up to what you're going to see and how you go through that finish line, right?
I think it's important to note too, you can look at the finish line. Like it's okay to look ahead at the finish line, and it's okay to set your sights on it because you always want to remember
your why.
That end goal, your why. But like he said, if you are only focusing on that, then kind of the path to get there gets lost on you. Correct. So that's just one way to help you stay focused on taking it day by day, because if you didn't listen to the last podcast, setbacks can come up, you know. Sure. And so focusing on right now, focusing on each day will help you to get to that finish line more consistently.
Oh, yeah. So just to recap, this is how you're going to simplify fitness this year, right? We're going to set ourselves up for consistencies, make a goal, create a routine, and make your workouts, nutrition, mobility, stretching work a part of that routine. Make strength training the core of your program. Do it. It depends on your goals again, but at least 2 times a week. That's going to help you at least make some sort of progress. And then the next goal, fill in the blanks with stuff that you enjoy. If you or whatever your goal is. If you're trying to, if you want to go on a run, we mentioned this to people who are doing the Fresh Start program. If you want to add runs to the program, you want to increase your endurance a little more, add some runs to it, right? Fill in the blanks. It's only 4 days a week for the Fresh Start program. So fill in the blanks with stuff that you want to do and improve on, and you'll be good to go. Right? Intuitive eating, like she mentioned, eat intuitively, focus on your nutrition. You can't out-train bad nutrition, so you might as well focus on it and make it something that you enjoy. If you need some help with that, get on the Juice Toya app, shameless plug, where we have 30 plus recipes of all things that we eat on a weekly, monthly basis that we enjoy. And it's all good stuff. It's good for you. All right. And then last 2 things, be active every day. Find ways to just find little pieces of activity. I don't care if you have to go up a few flights of stairs instead of taking the elevator. I do that sometimes. Again, all of that adds up. Do not underestimate that. And last but not least, like we just mentioned, focus on the now. Right, the focus needs to be on getting better today, and then you're going to thank yourself when you cross that finish line. So that's pretty much what we have for you today. Again, we mentioned how fitness is socially driven, and we wanted to mention that because that is what makes fitness confusing, right? So many different opinions, so many different creators who are spilling out what they believe is the best way or what they believe is the way to help people reach their goals. But at the end of the day, you have to decipher that. You have to educate yourself on what works for you to where it can be sustainable and it's going to help you do what? Be consistent.
Be consistent.
Right? So real quick, y'all know what time it is. I got a dad joke. You got one today?
I don't have one today.
Okay, I'll
come with one next time.
I have a couple of them. All right, this is an easy one. It's low-hanging fruit right here. What is your doctor's favorite piece of equipment to use at the gym? What is your doctor's favorite piece of equipment to use at the gym? You got 10 seconds. This is low hanging fruit. I mean, mangoes, like avocado. Is avocado low? Yeah.
No, avocado trees are high.
They're high. Okay, I'm sorry.
I think. I don't know. I don't know. What is it?
Come on, it's easy. Medicine ball.
I was thinking like squat rack,
Nope.
dumbbell.
Nope. You're thinking too hard. You're thinking too hard.
Medicine ball.
Medicine
That's a good
ball.
one.
That's a good one, ain't it?
Remember when I said carbs supply energy and fats help with brain function? We need all of that right now.
I got one more. Why did the scientist break up with her boyfriend? Why did the scientist break up with her boyfriend? Or why did the science teacher break up with her boyfriend?
He was just an experiment.
That is good, but it's not it. That is good, though. That is good. I'm going to give you a thumbs up for that one because that's a great answer.
These men are just experiments.
But they just didn't have any chemistry.
Yeah, experiment turned out to not work.
Hey, that's good. I'm going to give you a thumbs up on that. That was a win, so... But anyways, that's our dad joke for today. Hope you enjoyed it.
I got one for you next time. Okay, no worries.
But anyways, we appreciate y'all for rocking with us for a whole hour now. If you want to check this out, check out the video version. If you want to see our Toya's beautiful face, check it out on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 7,000. Get us to 7,000. We want to get to 10,000. Maybe even by the end of the month. Keep sharing this with people that could find this useful. Again, we're trying to give you helpful information. We're trying to keep it real with you. We're not here to sugarcoat it. We're trying to give you the real because we have experience with ourselves, with our clients, and all of you that we've been working with for 3-4+ years on YouTube now. So again, we appreciate you. Fitness is more simple than you think. So kind of keep that in mind, educate yourself, and I promise you'll be good to go. So with that being said, go get the Fresh Start program. Check it out. We got everything linked down in the show notes. And also go get your merch, man. We appreciate all the support. Go get you some quality merch, might I say. And then also we got some brand new videos dropping on YouTube every single week. So go check those out. We appreciate the support. We appreciate the love. And with that being said, we appreciate you for joining us, Toya.
And we will see you all at the next one.